This is the Mini Electric, a battery-powered Mini. Now the car has only been introduced back in 2020, but Mini has decided to give this car already a facelift. Now in this video I'm going to take you through the interior and the exterior of the car. I'm going to show you everything that is new on this 2022 model. Keep in mind, this is probably not the car you want to have if you're planning to do a lot of long distance traveling because of the range of this car. However, is this the best electric city car? Now let's find out in this video. Now before we start the video, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, this is probably the best time to do it. Alright, let's get started. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is the Mini Electric, the Mini that is run by battery power. This is the 2022 model, so the brand new model. It's the facelift model, which is a little bit odd considering that the Mini has only been on the market since 2020, but Mini gave the regular petrol Minis a facelift last year. So while they were at it, they also give the electric a facelift. Next year, Mini will release the all new generation Mini somewhere around in 2023. Now that car will again be available with regular petrol engines and as a fully electric version, just like this version. Now this is the current generation of the Mini Electric, and I'd say this version is still pretty relevant. It just received a facelift. Now before we're going to discuss the updated interior and the specifications, we're going to talk about the exterior design. What is new here on the outside of the Mini Electric? The Mini Electric always kind of looked the same like a regular Mini Cooper, especially this facelift model only has a couple of subtle changes compared to the Mini 3 doors with a petrol engine. So let's discuss what's new here compared to the previous Mini Electric. First of all, there's a new bumper and there's a new grille. Now the grille now has the body color of the car, which on this car is British Racing Green. The fog lamps are now removed from the lower part of the bumper and are now integrated in the headlights that still have the round daylight running lights running all the way around it. Now instead of the fog lights, you now get these sporty vertical air inlets on the side on the lower part of the bumper, and there's also a pretty sporty lip here on the lower part of the bumper as well. Here on top you get LED headlights as standard. There's a little yellow S logo on this electric version, and you also get a blacked out Mini logo on this particular version as well. And there's even a hood scoop, which is not functional because you totally don't need it on an electric car, but I have to admit it looks pretty cool. Not a lot of changes on the side of the car, only a couple of things I want to mention. For example, the new turn signals that you get here on the side, they have a little bit of plastic cladding going around it, and there's a yellow S logo again, telling people that this is the fully electric version. Now the turn signals are now also fully LED. Then let's talk about the wheels. These are also new. These are the tentacle spoke wheels, 17-inch, looking pretty classy with the black glossy finish and with the spoke design. You also get some blacked out mirror caps on this particular version and some black door handles. Looking again pretty classy combined with the blacked out wheels. Now the Mini 3 doors is basically a coupe, so you get these frameless windows here. Again, looking pretty classy. You also can get some tinted windows, but you have to pay extra for that. Now there's something about this Mini Electric that I didn't know, and that's the fact that this car is actually a bit higher than a regular Mini. Now this car is definitely not a high car, but it is in fact 2 centimeters higher than a regular Mini. Now that is because this electric version has a battery pack, which is obviously pretty heavy, and they don't want this car to scrape on the ground when you go over speed bumps. So they raise the car a little bit, give it a little bit stiffer suspension, and that's why this car is a little bit higher than a regular Mini. Now they cleverly disguised that fact by giving this car a little bit more plastic cladding around the wheel arches. So you'd probably never tell that this car is actually a little bit higher than a regular Mini unless you park a regular Mini next to this Mini Electric. Here on the back end there are a couple of subtle changes compared to the outgoing model. You now get a new bumper with an integrated diffuser here on the lower part with some integrated fog lights. You still get the Union Jack tail lights. You get these as standard, just as the spoiler that you get as standard as well. This particular version, again, you had the blacked out Mini logo, also the blacked out Cooper logo. Now on the left side of the car you get a yellow badge, a bright yellow badge that says E. Now together with the yellow S badge on the front it says SE, which was originally the name for this Mini Electric. I believe at Mini they still call this the Mini Cooper SE or the SE Cooper or something like that. But you know, everybody basically calls this the Mini Electric. All right, let's discuss cargo space. Now, obviously, this being a Mini, you don't have too much space here in the back. There's 211 liters, which is not much, but it is definitely enough for your daily groceries. There's also some underfloor storage here as well for your charging cables. Now, if you really want to have a bit more storage space, you have to fold down the rear seats that you can do in 60/40 configuration. Then you have 730 something liters, which is actually pretty good for such a compact car. Now, what is really clever here in the cargo space is the fact that you can tilt the back seats a little bit more forward, so they have a different angle, so you get a little bit more cargo space here in the back. There's a little metal plate that you can slide forward, so the back seats will stay up straight. Now, it does mean that it is basically impossible to sit on the back seats when they're a little bit more angled straight up. But again, you do get more cargo space. So if you don't use the back seats or there's only like a small child there, it's actually a very good solution. Now, according to Mini, here in the interior they have used some better materials. Now, I have to say honestly, the interior always felt quite premium in a Mini, and again, it all feels very premium. You got a lot of soft materials on the dashboard, on the door panels, here on the armrest. It all feels basically like a Mini BMW. Now, obviously, BMW is the owner of Mini, and you can really tell here in the interior it all feels, again, really like you're driving a Mini BMW. Take, for example, the toggle switches that are everywhere in this car, not just down here, but also here on top. They're not made out of plastic, they are made out of aluminum. There's a lot of weight to them and they feel really good. Now, let's quickly discuss the toggle switches because there are quite a lot of them. The one here on top, one of them operates the panoramic roof, which is €1,000 extra, or option rather. And the other toggle switches are here to control like the reading lights. The toggle switches down here, some of them are also in the regular Mini, some of them are only in this fully electric version. So take, for example, the toggle switch that controls the level of regen on this car. This is an electric car, so you can use the regenerative braking system on this electric car. So if you let go of the accelerator pedal, the car will automatically slow down using the electric motor to slow down the car. You will actually win back some energy by doing so, and it is just a very comfortable way of driving. Now, there are two levels of regen on this car. Now, when you start the car, it will automatically be on the highest setting. So if you let go of the accelerator pedal, the car will brake pretty firm using the electric motor, but you can also put it on a lower setting if you prefer that. Now, the infotainment screen and infotainment system that you get here in the center is basically the same system that you got in the previous model. Which is not terrible, but it is becoming a little bit outdated. It doesn't run the newest BMW iDrive 8 system, for example. I believe this is still iDrive 6, so yeah, getting a bit outdated. It's not like super laggy, however, you can notice that it is running a little bit slow now and then. Now, behind the steering wheel, you do get a very cool looking digital gauge cluster. You already had this one in the previous model as well, and now you also get this one in regular Mini models with a petrol engine. It's a very nice screen to look at. The graphics are very sharp and you can see all the information that you basically need. You can also see the range on this car very clear, which is sometimes a bit of an issue. So let's talk range on this car. Now, this car doesn't have the biggest battery pack, and that is basically the biggest flaw of this car. The battery pack is almost 33 kilowatt hours, I believe 32.6, giving this car an official range of 234 kilometers. Now, obviously, in reality, you can never make that. You can always deduct at least 50 kilometers from the official range. So let's say on a good day, this car will do about 180 kilometers. Which is plenty for most people. I mean, I don't drive 180 kilometers every day, rarely actually, but still, sometimes you want to drive a bit further and then, you get some serious range anxiety in this car. However, this being a Mini, this being a city car, it shouldn't be a problem for most people, but you do have to keep in mind that this car doesn't have the greatest range. It is a bit of a shame that they didn't offer a bigger battery in this car. They didn't fill up the entire floor of the car with batteries. I'm pretty sure on the next generation of the Mini Electric, they will definitely give the car a better range. Now, fast charging this car can do up to 50 kilowatts, which is also not really fast. You really need a half an hour to fill up the battery up to 80%, and then you still have a range of around 140, 150 kilometers if you're lucky. So again, the range is not the most impressive aspect of this car. What is, however, impressive is the handling of this car. This is one of the most fun electric cars you can drive, and I'm even including cars like the Porsche Taycan, Audi e-tron RS. This is just a very zippy and fun driving car. You know, all Minis are famous for their handling. Mini likes to call it the go-kart feeling, like you're driving a go-kart. And even in this electric version, it's still a very fun car to drive. You know, the car is a little bit higher up, but the battery pack actually makes sure that this car has a lower center of gravity, making this car maybe even more fun to drive than, let's say, a Cooper S, maybe even a John Cooper Works. No, probably not that one, but I think it is more fun to drive than a Cooper S. You got the instant torque of the electric motor. There's 270 newton meters of torque, 184 horsepower, so just around the same amount of horsepower that you get in a Cooper S, but you do get that instant torque, which really propels this car, makes this car leap forward really fast. The car will do 0 to 100 kilometers an hour or 0 to 62 miles an hour in 7.3 seconds. But it is the 0 to 60 kilometers an hour time that really is impressive. It's 3.9 seconds, and it even feels more impressive than that number. Honestly, when you hit the accelerator pedal on this car, it really goes flying, making this car a lot of fun to drive. And also in the corners, this car handles really well. So all in all, I think this is a perfect electric city car. You got plenty of range for the city. If you go outside of the city, you do have to consider the range, but you can have a lot of fun outside of the city with this car. So those are my impressions of the 2022 Mini Electric. If you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you at the next one.